Hi, BookTube. Happy October. It's currently raining and very cloudy outside. So the perfect time to talk about all the books I'm going to be reading in one of my favorite times of the year in October, along with the reading event Victober. I'll share with you my Victober picks and a couple other books I'm looking forward to reading, but the Halloween, like spooky kind of books, I'm going to be talking about in hopefully some like weekly reading plan TBR like things, because I don't want to give you just bombard you with too many books, but I thought I would just share some highlights. And I've been participating in Victober for quite many years now. I think like since the very beginning. And I first discovered Anthony Trollope maybe around Victober, or BookTube I think pushed me to give him a try. And this is the group read for the event, The Way We Live Now. And I haven't read this one. Although I've read quite a few Trollope books, I haven't read this one, and there's many more I could read. So it's giving me that little extra push to pick him up again. And then let's see here. They're all out of order with my screenshots. This isn't, speaking of screenshots, this isn't the cover of the book I'm going to be reading by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. But it's a poetry collection called Browning that includes her and her husband's work, along with some letters and just like biography. It's like an amalgamation of a couple of different things. But I wanted to mention that because like I always try to read at least one poetry collection a month. And okay, then the next one is The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. I know for a fact I read my first H.G. Wells 2 or 3 years ago, thanks to Victober. And so, but this I feel like is one of the more famous ones that I have never read, and so like why not? This like kind of zany cover here. And then I'm going to be rereading Black Beauty by Anne Sewell. I do like mixing things up with like children's literature and whatnot. And then I have one more book that's a physical copy, and that's The Jungle Books by Rudyard Kipling. And this is like a Barnes & Noble edition that includes both books. And I only really know about the Jungle Book through like the Disney cartoon adaptation, but there's the Jungle Book and then the second Jungle Book. So we'll see how I get on with this, if I want to, read through the whole thing or not. But yeah, willing to give this one a try. And then going to like Victorian inspired literature. Let's see here. I have the story of Heathcliff's Journey Back to Withering Heights by Lynn Hare Sargent. I have owned this book for, I feel like, almost a year, because I found it, I think, at a little free library a month or so after Victober ended. So I have been waiting this whole time for Victober to come back around to read it, because Withering Heights by Emily Bronte is one of my favorite Victober, Victorian literature books. And so this, it says it's filling in the 3 years when Heathcliff disappeared and transformed himself from a stable boy to a wealthy gentleman. So this is like the lost years. And so I'm highly intrigued by this one. And then some other Victorian-esque books is The Matchmakers' Lonely Heart by Nancy Campbell Allen. I found this at a local library, although it's an advanced reader's copy. And this is a proper Victorian romance, and it's following Amelia, who is she's a columnist, but she's like a hopeless romantic, although she's single, and she's like kind of like a matchmaker. She's trying to put people together. Meanwhile, there's another character, a police detective named Michael, who has been struggling. He's lonely as well. All of his family has died in a fire, and then they come up. I think they both, or at least he does, stumbles upon a woman's body, and the suspect is a husband, Harold Radcliffe, who is one of the people that Amelia is trying to make someone else with. So it seems to be lots of fun, and yeah, willing to give this a try. And yeah, I've never heard of this author before. And then let's see, I have A Tale of Sleepy Hollow called Horsemen by Christina Henry, and I just love this cover. It like with the tree and the birds and the moon in the background, it's just very atmospheric. And speaking of atmospheric, I have Daphne du Maurier, Jamaica Inn, and I read Rebecca, I think thanks to BookTube, years and years ago, but I didn't really get on with it too much, unfortunately. And I think I need to do a reread of it, because it's probably been at least 5 years. But I'm going to read another Du Maurier book and see if I like this one any better. And let's see if there's anything else, because all my things are mixed up here. I don't have all the pictures in order. The Letters of Shirley Jackson. Shirley Jackson is, I'm just going to flip it around to be bigger, is an author I really like. I've read her biography and most of her works, but this is a letter collection. I'm currently reading it right now, and it's like 500 pages, but don't let that dissuade you, because it's just, I don't know, it's endlessly fascinating to me to see, you know, like the writer, you know, kind of in their personal life, talking about their writing, talking about how their books are being published, you know, talking with friends and family, and just their daily life. It's kind of like, you know, biography all in one. But yeah, I'm like almost halfway through right now, and it's only October 2nd, but yeah, really enjoying this one. And then speaking of Shirley Jackson, I wanted to read one of her novels, Hangs a Man, and this is a novel that is one of her earliest ones, and she talks about in the early part of the letter collection, and I haven't heard anyone talk about this before, so I thought I would give it a read, along with, I really want to reread Haunting of Hill House. I feel like I read that every couple of years, and a short, I can't talk about Shirley Jackson without talking about her short story collections, because she wrote quite a few short story collections, and this is The Bird's Nest, and there's that curriculum, it seems to be like a person with their head is a bird's nest, so that's going to be very interesting. So I'm going to make sure I got all my pictures here. Okay, yeah, that was all of them. And then I have a couple books, like physical books, that I want to for sure get to this month. This is Harvest of Bones by Nancy Means Wright. This is a Vermont mystery series, and I really liked the cover. Anything Vermont, it's the epitome of fall, I feel like. And one year, I'm just determined to be able to go to Vermont in the fall, and like join the crowd with just exploring Vermont at that time. But I have never read this author or this series, so yeah, we'll need to give that one a try. It's a cozy mystery, and it says Ruth is busy working to keep her rural Vermont dairy farm and her personal life in manageable state, and it's plunged into a mystery. It starts with a finger bone and leads to a skeleton. And like the neighbors are all getting involved, so yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I just realized, like, zooming in, it kind of looks like a cornucopia with a skeleton in there. And then I just could not think about October reads without including some Gothic fiction. So this is a Gothic treasure trove, and it includes a bunch of authors: Madeline Brent, Phyllis A. Whitney, Victoria Holt, Barbara Michaels, Dorothy Eden, and Jessica North. I'm very, very familiar with Phyllis A. Whitney. In fact, she was one of the authors back when I was a kid. I read everything by her, and the other author I'm vaguely familiar with, I've only read a couple by, is Dorothea Eden. But yeah, looking forward to reading and exploring all the different authors. And there's even some illustrations sprinkled throughout of the some of the covers of the books. So here is one of them. This one is Moonraker's Bride by Madeline Brent. And then the first page has some illustrations here as well. So this looks like all sorts of fun. I'll show you one more. The Golden Unicorn by Phyllis A. Whitney, with that creepy cover with the head staring at you with no eyes. But anyway, those are just some of the books I'm going to be reading in the month of October. I'm greatly looking forward enjoying in the fun of the Victober picks. And I hope you'll join me in reading some Victorian literature, because it's just the perfect time for it. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.